Hey guys, welcome back to Arena Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew. What I have for you today is just a quick fire kit dump. This kit is going to be made up of items to get us fire quickly. So we're not looking for a lot of improvisation and MacGyver skills like I usually do. So we're going to look at these items, typical stuff we may find in any survival kit, especially a military survival kit. But this kit, like I said, needs to be able to give us fire quickly, but it's got to have at least 3 starters and then at least 3 forms of tinder that can work with those ignition sources to get us that fire, and maybe a couple other tools in here to harvest material quickly besides just using our bare hands and build up a sustainable and a maintainable fire very easily. So let's take a look. All right, so as we look inside, you can see there are quite a few items in here for our fire kit. What we're going to go over first are going to be those 3 ignition sources. We should always have at least 2 or 3 and even more ignition sources on us to give us a wide variety of ways to actually get a fire going. In case one of these actually takes a dump on us for whatever reason, we can use our backups to get us fire. Now, that number 1 fire starting tool that we should have with us at all times, even in this kit, is going to be just a small lighter. That lighter gives us instant flame, instant gratification. We should always have one, even in our pocket, like I have right here. And you'll notice both are wrapped in tape. That tape can be used as a multifunctional item, create certain things or improvisation, even band-aids, but it can also be used as a flame extender with that instant flame we get from our lighter. Just another way to carry multiple items in a smaller kit. So that first item is a lighter. Next item is going to be that ferro rod. That ferro rod, thousands and thousands of strikes. We don't absolutely have to have a 6-inch ferro rod. We can have a smaller one like this, but with something like this, obviously we have a shorter stroking surface. That's what she said. Little handle piece right here. These are notorious for breaking off, which is why we have to use this appropriately, striking away and not striking and pulling up so much that we take a chance at actually ripping out the ferro rod. But as long as we have a ferro rod like this, and then some sort of 90-degree edge on a tool like the back of our saw here, we can shoot sparks and get our tinder ignited and start a fire, build it up to a sustainable level, and boil water, stay warm, whatever we have to do. So that ferro rod is going to be that second item. And then that third item, in my opinion, we should probably have matches. Matches, again, are almost instant flame, and these things work, especially stormproof matches that are waterproofed. We can protect them, but we have them available, especially with natural tinder, and this thing is going to give us flame for 10, 15, 20 seconds. And so we have our stormproof matches, and then something I recommend is going to be carrying those strike anywhere matches, because we can strike them anywhere, like on our zipper. If we're wearing a memorial bracelet, the engraving on that bracelet can be used as a striking surface. So we don't necessarily need a striker with these matches. With the stormproof ones we do, but matches are going to be an easy thing for us to carry as part of our kit. We can carry more in our rucksack, replenish our match safe when the time comes, or if we run out. But we can even use the bottom of that match safe with the small ferro rod right there with tinder to actually ignite our tinder. So this actually gives us a couple of different options with matches, stormproof matches, strike anywhere, and then that small ferro rod. And we can even use the plastic on the match safe itself, making shavings to ignite that plastic and those fine shavings to get a fire going that way as well. So our third option is going to be matches. So our 3 main fire starting options are going to be a ferro rod, a lighter, and matches. In my opinion, this is what I would carry in my kit. There are other things we can carry, and I've got a few in here that I'm going to show you. And then, of course, we all know the number 1 way to start a fire in the military especially is going to be by tracer round via an officer's magazine as he's shooting rounds down range, because an officer will always place those tracer rounds in that single dead, dry patch of grass that will combust and ignite immediately. So always look for an officer with tracer rounds, surefire way to start fire, pun intended. So on top of those 3 items, one really good item that is military is going to be just a aviator spark light. All it is basically a lighter without the fuel. And so we just have that wheel with the flint, and we can make sparks like that. It's too easy. And it comes with 8 commercial tinders right there that are ready to go. We just fluff them up, ignite them, and they're good to go, and they'll last for a few minutes, long enough to get a fire going. So this comes in aviator survival kits, and we can use this to get a fire going as another option. Another military option that's really good is going to be that magnesium bar. The only downside to something like this is taking the time to actually scrape off the magnesium and then collecting it or keeping it collected without dumping that dust everywhere. Otherwise, we can still use that ferro rod on top to ignite man-made tinder or natural tinder, but that magnesium block gives us built-in tinder source, and then with some sort of striker or some sort of shaving device like this hacksaw, we can use this to scrape off the magnesium and then strike that ferro rod on top to ignite the magnesium. Magnesium burns at 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is a very good fire starting device, great for hot weather or humid weather jungles. This is going to be a good one to have. So these two right here give us 2 more ways to start fire, and they come with their tinder. This hacksaw blade, if we carry a hacksaw blade as the striker, instead of the striker that typically comes with these commercial magnesium bars, that hacksaw blade is high carbon steel, so we could potentially use it as a flint and steel kit, striking sparks off the back of that hacksaw blade onto very fine tinder like char material to get a fire going. Even tinder fungus, if we make tinder dust out of that fungus, we can use it the same way. So there's 2 different pieces of kit right there that can go in our fire kit and give us a way to start fire fairly easy. There are a couple other ways that we can start fire with this small kit. One is going to be, which is that 9-volt battery. Tinder that is very easy to pick up in a janitor's closet or part of cleaning supplies, especially in the military over by the barracks, is going to be just that steel wool. We can take that 9-volt battery with a little bit of steel wool, take the tape off our 9-volt here. You've probably seen this a million times. We take that steel wool, touch it to the 9 volts, and we can ignite it, put this in a tinder bundle, blow it into flame, or even put it underneath of our fire lay and just add oxygen. We can blow that fire alive with something like this. Very easy to carry. Important thing with this 9-volt is we always want to cover the terminals if we keep it as part of our fire kit. Luckily, there are signaling devices like strobes that we can take a 9-volt, put it into that strobe, and then pull it out. Use it with our steel wool when absolutely necessary, but we always want to cover these so we don't set off that steel wool inside our fire kit, and then we're just going to walk around with a bomb waiting to go off. We got electric right here with that 9-volt. Then, of course, we have more of a bushcraft way to get fire, and we could do this and use this with our binoculars by taking out that front large lens. But right here, all we have is just small magnifying glass. They can harness the sun's rays, focus that into a fine beam when the sun is fully out. It's kind of cloudy right now, but we can use that lens. Solar ignition is a viable option. This is more of an improvisational technique, in my opinion, because we can get this from our binoculars by unscrewing that front monocle and then using the lens with the sun's rays, fine tinder material, even gunpowder, and we can use that to get a fire going. Or there's another method we can use by adding something to our kit if we're out patrolling in our rucksack, part of our hygiene kit, and that is a mirror. And so right here we have just a makeup mirror. You'll notice that it's got a bend to it, or it's convex, and we can use it the exact same way, only this time we reflect the sun's rays onto our tinder and make as small a beam as possible. It helps if our mirror is below our tinder, so we create just that smallest space as possible, and we focus that on our tinder. Same thing with a lens, and it's getting hot, and we can focus the sun's rays that way. So instead of using a lens, we actually use our mirror from our hygiene kit that we use to shave and scrape our face in the morning and brush our teeth and check out how beautiful we are, or put on face paint. And we can use this to actually get a fire going. That's hot. We can use this to get a fire going as well. So improvisational method right here. We can pick and choose depending on our fire kit. We can carry both, or we can carry one and just roll with that. Same thing. Basically, one is just going to have the sun's rays pass through. The other one is going to reflect the sun's rays. Still solar ignition no matter which way we go. And then, of course, one of the last things we have in here to get a fire going is just a piece of string. If we have a piece of cordage, like our 550 here, and then a knife or some sort of cutting tool, we can harvest natural materials and just do primitive methods by carving a friction fire set just like this, a bow drill friction fire set. This is cottonwood material. We've already got the string, got the spindle, the bearing block, the fireboard, and then even a catch in there. Our set is complete right here. All we have to do is harvest a bow, set it up, and we can burn in, carve the notch, produce an ember with available tinder, stuff like that. Cottonwood bark in our mag dump pouch right here. We can use that to create a bird's nest or a tinder bundle, and then with that ember, get the fire going that way. So we have multiple options, even if all we have is just that piece of string or the cordage, 550 cord, and then some sort of cutting tool to manufacture our friction fire set. Now we still got a lot of stuff in this kit, so we're going to go over a couple of tools we can carry, as well as some tinder sources. A really good tinder source, probably the number one we want to go with for our fire kit, is going to be just cotton balls and Vaseline. This is an old film canister. We can use our lighter, our matches. We can use our ferro rod and our striker. Very easy. This stuff burns for 5-10 minutes at a time, long enough for us to get that fire going. A really good tinder source to have right there. Another tinder source that we can use with different materials is going to be hand sanitizer. This is just alcohol. So we can use this with a lighter, with a match, with our ferro rod, get a fire going. Even that magnesium bar or that aviator spark light. Ignite this, it burns clean and invisible. So we want to use a leaf over top of that hand sanitizer to ensure that it's actually started. That leaf will start to burn if this stuff is burning. But we can take this, and a little trick is to use that cotton from our field dressing and or some sort of absorbable cotton pad or gauze pad. We can take this, the hand sanitizer all over it, let it absorb, and then just hit it with our ferro rod, ignite it, and now we have basically cotton balls and Vaseline right there. A long-lasting burning tinder source that we can use to get a fire going. Something similar to that hand sanitizer is going to be just alcohol prep pads. These are probably a little bit easier to use as opposed to carrying around a large bottle of hand sanitizer, even though this is a mini bottle. Those alcohol prep pads, same thing. We already have that gauze material as part of the kit right here. It's just very small and very thin, but we can carry a lot of these. They typically come in a double pack, so you can sterilize a site before you give an IV. You could use these as fire sources as well. Ferro rod, lighter, match, aviator spark light, even the magnesium bar. We'll ignite these. They burn clean, again, so we're not going to see that flame right away. But we can hold a leaf over it to check to see that those are actually burning, and then we can apply our tinder from the area over top and get a fire going. Another thing we can carry that's probably going to go in our pocket is just chapstick. Chapstick is made of petroleum jelly and paraffin wax, even our face paint. We can take a bunch of this, put it on cotton material like our gauze pad, use this to act as a flame extender to increase the length of burn time with our tinder. Always good to have this. This can go in our pocket and we can use it with just about anything, and even the lighter in our pocket combined with our tinder material to give us a flame extender. Another good thing to have is Ranger bands or bike inner tube or pieces of rubber. We can tear off a hunk of this rubber, use our lighter, that instant flame gratification, ignite this, and it will burn for a long time. This is a great technique for jungle, swamp environments to get a fire going. Always carry a little bit of this. Plus, if we use strips of this as Ranger bands, we can put them around like our survival tin and even use those Ranger bands as flame extenders the same way, just tearing off strips of this, light it up, put it underneath our fire lay, get that fire going very quickly. This is something that we can carry and possibly even find around dumps or vehicles that are broken down in the woods, old tires, rip off a hunk, and now we've got flame extender and tinder right there ready to go. Another thing to carry, this could go in our pocket as well as part of our pocket kit from my last video, and that's just a cravat dressing. This is 100% cotton, so we can use this for a variety of uses. We can even use this creating char material or use this to help collect up tinder material around the area, even firewood, bring it back to camp, and then cut off a hunk of this, put it in that fire. And if we don't have a container like this, we could bury some of this cloth in the earth just underneath our fire, pile the fire over top, and it will char this material. We could even use our canteen cup by turning it upside down, putting this in the bottom of our cup with a rock on top, flipping it over in the fire, put the fire over top, and that'll char this material as well. So we don't absolutely have to have a char can like this. We can carry it or use something else as part of our kit to create that fine char material that would take a spark very, very easily. But this thing can go in our pocket and we can pull it out, use it for other things, and then make char out of it later. This is going to be more of a next fire mentality right here, this type of kit. And then something else that's in here that we can carry, military old school, is going to be potassium permanganate. And we can use this combined with sugar from in our kit. Another reason to always carry sugar or hang on to those MRE accessory packets that you get in your MRE, because a lot of them come with sugar. Hang on to that sugar, and we can combine these two and even use our bow drill, the spindle, the fireboard as an improvised mortar and pestle to actually ignite this stuff. Or we can use our knife and craft just a simple mortar and pestle for materials around the area if we don't have our bow drill friction fire set created. But these two things right here will create chemical ignition and give us fire. This is also really good for jungle environments, swamp environments, hot, humid environments to get a fire going. So we carry just a little bit of that pop perm in our kit. Consider this more of a fire starter, an improvisational method, as opposed to something that's going to give us fire right now like that lighter. But we can carry something like this in our kit if we want to. So we just got a little bag with our sugar and then our alcohol prep pads, waterproofed, ready to go. And then lastly, we probably want some tools with us to harvest larger sections of material. And so we should always hang on to that commando wire saw, just a small pocket saw like this to take down material or saw things off if they're dead and dry and hanging up, and we absolutely need to get to the interior material of those larger sections. Quick technique to actually break or split that log open, get to the inner material, use our knife to create shavings and get a fire going that way. But this is strictly for taking down material and processing that material to give us a sustainable or a maintainable fire, which is why we'd carry something like this. Fun fact is that this commando wire saw can actually cut through metal as well, so we can use it for improvisation, whether that's cutting pieces of metal or sawing through nails, whatever it is. We can do it with this. Plus we have a spare saw blade right there in case the first one breaks or becomes too short for us to use. We've got another one ready to go, so we can continue processing firewood, bringing it back to camp, and making fire. And then I've just got one spare gauze pad right there for tinder. That's the entirety of the kit. All right, guys, so here is our entire fire kit. It's a very large fire kit for sure, but we can carry at least 3 ignition sources and then 3 forms of tinder. So that ferro rod, that lighter, and those matches, probably going to be the 3 ignition sources we're going to use most often. And then we can pick from any of the tinder sources that we have here. We obviously want to go with cotton balls and Vaseline, man-made tinder. This stuff is going to last a long time. Plus, it's cheap, it's easy to use, and we can make a lot of it very quickly and carry a lot with us because it is very lightweight. Rubber is going to be another good tinder source, long-lasting flame that we could find at a down vehicle or broke down vehicle or tires that are just out in the woods. Grab a strip and continue to add it to our kit. And then even things like improvised tinder, hand sanitizer, cotton gauze, pads that are absorbable. We can carry these things as part of hygiene kit, so they have multiple purposes, but we can use these to get a fire going as well. And then, of course, we could always use our natural material that we harvest off the landscape to act as another tinder, put it in our dump pouch and carry it with us as part of our kit. Always grab resources, that opossum mentality, grabbing things as we see them because they may not be where we're going, so we carry that stuff with us. All right, guys, a very down and dirty video today. I hope you liked this video. A fire kit dump, everything we have here, 3 ignition sources, 3 tinders, and then a variety of things that can go into a very small kit in our utility pouch. Really hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.